It feels great, man. In the beginning, obviously after the fight, right, you're like, I need a little break from MMA right now. And then when I got the break, I was like, all right, I'm ready to go back in. I mean, everyone's been watching the whole stories, basically know what's going on already or what happened. But yeah, man, I'm excited to be back. I'm happy to be back. It was a good thing for me in my career to take that long to kind of just sit back and just relax for a little bit. I was working nonstop for a long time. So I was like, my mind, my body, everything needed to chill. My family, needed to see me a bit more and like basically reconnect with me because I was just had the blinders full on. But now they understand again, and I'm back on the fucking horse.
This might sound like a weird question, but very rarely do we see fighters, get to where you were at in your career and stay undefeated. It's just a rare thing in the sport. You had to deal with your first loss. How have you dealt with that first loss and coming back from that? Was it were you able to just put it behind you right away? Did it take a little while to kind of wrap your head around the fact that you had a loss? Like, how did you come back from that?
Day by day, dude. Literally. I mean, obviously, you lose whatever, and then you kind of understand you lost the day of the fight, and after it kind of sinks in a little more, then a little more, and then finally you're like, you know what? You start looking at all the good things about everything. Then you start understanding the nature of the sport, how it goes, and then you just kind of fucking let it go. And that's kind of what it was. I just went in there and accepted it, let it go, and then I used it in a positive way in order for it to allow less pressure to come into my life than more.
Throughout your career, Brian, you've always been a pretty laid back guy, and I mean that as a compliment. But this fight with Zombie has seemingly gotten very personal. Obviously, we know the incident that happened back in March, and just a lot of the trash talk that's been said. Would you say this has been a more personal fight than you've been used to, or is it personal for you?
No, it's not personal, man. Uh, Not with him. No, I mean, yeah, it's not even personal. Saw him the other day. Nothing happened. I didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. Uh, Not if it was personal, we would have jumped at each other. It was just something that happened, an incident that was done on my part, and yeah, just a way of shutting up the trash talk.
And last one for me, coming back into such a high profile fight, still being ranked number 2 in the division, is the end goal always going to be the title? Do you even think about that now? We have a new champion in the division. This is obviously a pretty high fight, for rankings. Do you feel that way? Saying that, hey, I could jump right back into a title fight right now. Do you even think about
This
that?
fight for me, yeah, this fight for me was not even more so trying to just get a title right off the bat or something, right? It was more like, all right, you took your break, you did everything, but also it's like I'm not trying to come back and take an easy fight in. I've never once in my life took an easy fight. If you watch my entire career right off the bat, my second fight in the UFC was against Tavares, who had more fights in the UFC than I had in my career. So I've never looked to take an easy fight, nor am I ever gonna start to look to take one. For me, it was like, all right, who's the baddest motherfucker right now? Who's on fire and who we can fight? All right. Then we looked at Korean Zombies on a win streak, and then all of a sudden, our kind of the internet somehow tangled us together, and then the world wanted to see it fight, and then everything happened that happened, and now it's like, yo, these guys have to fight, and then now I want to fight them. So that's basically what happened, and it's a good test to come back. Solid guy. As for the title, I'm just working my ass off. I'm training hard, and obviously that's always the goal here, right? To be the number one guy, but also fight as hard as I can with just test myself also with all the good people. So it's like it's an interesting mix that I have in my head going on. But yeah, man.
Thank you, Brian.
You're
And
welcome.
we have Carlos Contreras with Milenio Diarra.
Hola Brian, ¿me puedes escuchar ahí?
I don't speak Spanish.
You suddenly forgot about Spanish? ¿Cómo estás?
Oh, shit. I was trying to skip one interview. ¿Cómo andamos?
Bien, bien, todo bien. Quería preguntarte sobre el estilo de Zombie, porque me imagino que has visto las peleas con Leonard García, con Jair, que son unas guerras de las mejores que ha tenido la división. Incluso él terminó en el hospital con los dos. ¿Te imaginas una guerra así también con él por el estilo que tiene, por obviamente que le guste ir siempre adelante?
Sí, pues claro que sí. Esta pelea no va a ser una pelea en donde es una pelea fácil o una pelea donde ninguno de nosotros nos vamos a dañar. Esta va a ser ni pelea, esta va a ser. Y pues obviamente, yo creo, ojalá que la Abu Dhabi tenga buenos hospitales porque yo creo que los dos vamos a estar ahí para el fin de la noche.
Cuéntame un poco, la gente se pregunta qué ha pasado en estos 2 años, cambios en tu campamento, una pelea en San Antonio que probablemente estuvo cerca, la de México, Corea. ¿Cómo fueron estos 2 años para ti con tantos cambios y tantas peleas que no se pudieron hacer?
Pues obviamente me frustré porque no podía encontrar mi manera en cómo entrar otra vez de nuevo. Estaba pensando que pues te toma tu tiempo, relájate, deja que todas tus lesiones pues, se compongan y todo. Y luego, al fin, todo el proceso de encontrando un equipo, encontrando a la gente correcta para el trabajo y que buscan honestamente lo mejor que es para mí, mi carrera. Fue otra cosa. Pero sí, con tiempo y todo se solucionó. Tenemos un equipo grande con managers, entrenadores, con todo. Tenemos todo ya. Estoy feliz, contento con mi equipo y pues ponemos el trabajo. Sabemos que la pelea iba a pasar que en octubre o diciembre. El año pasado no pasó por otras cosas que pasaron durante un entrenamiento y luego pues nos superamos de eso, pasó el coronavirus y luego ya aquí estamos. No me frustré tanto, al contrario, tomé eso como una oportunidad para ponerme más cómodo con el equipo, a conocernos mejor, a entrenar más duro y cosas que teníamos que mejorar, pues tuvimos más tiempo para hacer eso y eso es lo que hicimos.
Finalmente estuviste en México como invitado, pero sé que tú querías estar en esa pelea. ¿Cómo te sentiste esa noche pues ya de sentir todo el ambiente en la arena y no poder pelear frente a los mexicanos, pues, en la tierra de tus padres?
Pues se sintió, pues cada vez que vas a cualquier evento en México, obviamente te la pasas bien a gusto, te diviertes mucho. Tenía unos amigos ahí en la Ciudad de México con que estuve toda la semana. Pero sí, mirando las peleas y diciendo, man, si yo estuviera aquí, estoy bien padre, bien chingón. Y pues sí, le estaba pensando si iba a pelear al coreano durante ese tiempo. Me ha gustado mucho, especialmente enfrente de toda la raza, toda la gente, pero no pasó. Pero todavía me divertí, todavía comí un chingo de tacos. Ah, me la pasé bien a gusto, de todos modos.
Suerte, Brian, ojalá que veamos una buena pelea el sábado.
Gracias.
And next we will go to Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press.
Hey Brian, how are you?
Doing good, man. How about you?
Doing good, thank you. I want to ask you because leading up to your last fight, people would argue you're the most popular fighter who wasn't a UFC champion and you're getting a lot of attention. I want to ask, do you feel like you still get that love from the fans? Because no matter what, you bring up Brian Ortega, a lot of people still get excited about talking about you.
Yeah, man. I feel like a lot of people, they still, who see me, they still love me. Some of them are a little bit upset recently due to my actions, which I cannot blame them for. Um, but I feel if I had to choose and put both sides on a scale, I still say I'm more loved than I am hated.
I want to ask, I know everybody must bother you every day about your Modelo commercial and if you've made choices lately. They haven't played it in a while. Do you wish they would because you got a fight and you could get more attention, or do you like that you're getting some space from it?
Well, I don't know if you know the way the deals work with commercials, but they do a 1 year deal with them, and they play it out for 1 year, and then it's over. So my year was up, and that was it. Now the next commercial, I think it's with Amanda. Yeah, it's with Amanda, and now it's her year for the commercial to be ran. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't mind it being played, but it's not my turn now.
Understood. Out of curiosity, I feel like this had come up back in April before the pandemic and everything. Were there serious talks to have you fight Zabit?
Were there?
To fight Zabit in April? Was that ever a discussion?
Oh, there wasn't. I just looked at my
Gotcha.
manager and said, "Were there?" And he said, "No."
And final question, we know you talked about moving things around in terms of your camp and your circle. Can you talk about which team you brought with you to Fight Island?
I brought Tiki Gossin with me as a manager, Jason Park as a Muay Thai coach, Jesus Avila as a boxing coach, Dr. Andy as a mad scientist behind the whole entire group. Henry Gracie had to stay behind because his swab tested positive for the Rona. And I brought my friend Dean Wellen just to keep me company, have fun, and bullshit around.
Uh,
And Paul Herrera for wrestling.